Hey everyone, this is Jeff. I wanted to make a video about guitar accessories. There are so many that you can get, but if you're just beginning in this guitar journey, it might be helpful to think through some of the accessories that are out there, some that are pretty necessary, and then some that are not as necessary but you might want to consider. Today I've got this Guild. It's an OM 240 CE. Model numbers sometimes can be confusing for sure. OM for a Guild stands for the orchestra model, or auditorium is another word that guitar companies have used, but it has to do with the basic size of the guitar, the shape of the guitar. The orchestra models tend to be a little thinner and a little smaller in body, so for smaller musicians they tend to fit well. If you are a very large person, this may feel a little small. And as I mentioned in an earlier video, it's really important that the guitar you choose feels right to you, that it's comfortable for you to use. This Guild is about a $500 guitar, designed in the US but made in China. Solid wood guitar, spruce top. I think, well, I won't guess on the back. I think it's walnut, but it's got those CE in the model number, stands for cutaway, and electronics. It has electronics in it. In this guitar, they're actually inside the sound hole right here. Advantages and disadvantages to that. The advantages, it allows the guitar to look very clean. There are no protruding things, so to speak, except where the cord plugs in here in the back. Other than that, it's just a very clean shape, and you don't have your controls right up here. Disadvantages, if you're in the middle of a song or in the middle of a set, it's pretty difficult to adjust your tone and volume because the dials to do that are inside the sound hole here. So you want to set that ahead of time, and hopefully that setting will work for you through the entire set, or for the entire time you're playing. But it's a great guitar. Another quick thing about this guitar, two things. This is an archback guitar, and in the older days, archback guitars and arch front guitars were popular. So Guild decided to do an homage to their older models and put out this archback guitar. And it's kind of cool. It makes the guitar lighter because there's no bracing in here. There's no bracing on the back. Still bracing on the front, but no bracing on the back. So that allows the guitar to be lighter, so that it just it's a lot easier to hold, and not as heavy. Doesn't wear on you quite as much. The other thing is they decided to use open tuning machines instead of closed tuning machines. Again, just something that they used to do, and so they decided to go with that on this model of guitar. I don't know, hopefully you can see that. But the disadvantage of these, they work fine, but the disadvantage is they are open to the air, so dust and stuff can get in there. So you might want to think about oiling those every once in a while and keeping them clean. But other than that, it's a great kind of older looking guitar, but still has still a great quality guitar. And if you wanted to find one used, again, which would be my recommendation, you could probably find one between maybe $250 and $350, $250 to $350 for a good quality Guild 240 CE. So something to consider, and I like this guitar. I use it a lot. When you get a guitar, whether you're buying it from an individual or you're buying it from a store, used or new, this is probably what you get, unless it has kind of an accessory package that comes with it or something like that. But you get guitar, strings, and sometimes you're buying it used from a person, you may not even have all the strings there. I remember buying a guitar that it was not only missing strings, it was missing one of the tuning machines, and it didn't have any of the pins that hold the strings to the guitar face. So you don't know what your guitar is going to look like maybe, but this is pretty standard. All right, so some things you want to add to this. First of all, I'd recommend you get a case of some kind, because a case will protect your guitar, especially if you're moving it from one place to another. They come in all shapes and sizes, and of course, there's a huge range of expense too. This is an old case. This is a like 1960s case for a Gibson, and as you notice, it's fairly small. In fact, I don't think it would even fit this guitar. One of the things that you want to think about when you're buying a guitar case is does it actually fit the guitar you have? Because cases are different sizes and shapes, so you want to make sure that the case you buy actually fits the guitar you have. So this one is like a heavy-duty cardboard construction with some vinyl on the outside. Then there are, this is probably the most popular type of guitar case today. It's what they would call a gig bag. So it's made of nylon. It has a foam interior to protect the guitar. Very light and easy to take from one place to another. Usually they have back straps so that you can hold it like a backpack on your back. They have pockets to put other accessories in. So I would say, gig bags are great, but the more expensive your guitar, the more sturdy you want that case, because it is basically the thing that protects your guitar from getting bumped in transition from one place to another. All right, so another thing, cases. Again, they can range from $50 to $500 or more. There are some really sturdy cases out there made of aluminum, and they're basically indestructible. Another thing you should consider, and this is again in protecting your guitar, is a stand. This is a pretty standard stand. There are stands that have just the bottom part, and the guitar sits on it and kind of rests against the back. Those are nice. This is kind of, I think, a little more safe because it has this upper section that holds onto the neck and has a little clasp here you can use to keep the guitar from falling forward. Because sometimes, especially when you're on stage or you're not thinking, you can bump these things, the guitar can fall off and get damaged. So, but a stand is an important thing to have. Again, it gives your guitar protection, especially when you've used it, now you want to set it aside, or it's a nice stand if you happen to have your guitar in the living room or something like that as a decor piece. Then a stand is really nice. They also make guitar holders that go up on a wall. You can stick your guitar, hang your guitar on the wall. That's kind of cool too. When the guitar's not in it though, it just doesn't look quite as nice. Okay, so your guitar, you've got a case to protect it, you've got a stand to hold it. Those are pretty basic. All right, strings. I've talked about strings a little bit before. I use D'Addario strings, but you can choose. There are so many brands out there. These are light gauge strings, and I prefer light gauge strings. I would recommend light or even extra lights for when you're starting out, because they're a little bit easier on your fingers. They don't tend to last as long as medium gauge strings, but I think you'll like the feel on your fingers better at the beginning, at least. I also like the tone that these lights give me. So I would, there are all kinds of different strings out there you can get, but I would recommend lights. Another thing about strings, there are, these are just basic strings, but you can get coated strings. D'Addario's coated strings are, they would have XS on here. And that coating keeps like oils from your finger, dirt, grime, stuff like that from getting into the string, or at least from collecting on the string. And so it can help the strings to last maybe even up to 5 times longer. Coatings, though, tend to, and companies will tell you that it doesn't, but I have found that coatings tend to dull the sound of the string just a little bit. So, but it is nice, especially if you're in an area of high humidity. I think I would go with coated strings all the time, because humidity and guitar strings do not go well together. That is, you'll put strings on, and a couple weeks later, they're already basically rusting, or picking up crud, and it affects the tone. So if you want your strings to last a little longer and you're in Houston, you probably, you want to have that coating on your strings. A little more expensive, but they do allow your strings to last a little longer. Last thing I'll say about strings, this is basically just, I'm talking about acoustic guitars, but if you happen to have an electric guitar, I love flat wound strings. Again, these are a little more expensive, flat wound. The nice thing about flat wound strings is there's none of this finger sound on the string. They're just very smooth, and your fingers can slide up and down on the strings without making any noise. And when you're recording especially, that is, it's really nice not to have that sound. It's kind of an abrasive sound. So flat wound strings are really cool if you have like a jazz guitar, or a guitar that's an electric guitar. All right, enough about strings. Picks. I've talked a little bit about picks before too. I use 0.60 millimeter picks. I just like the feel of those, the thickness of those in my hand. It fits my style of playing. And maybe if you're going to do mostly picking, as far as picking with your fingers, you may not need a whole lot of picks, but I buy these by the 100 because I go through them very quickly. I forget them, they fall, they break, whatever. But a pick is something, an accessory that most guitarists will have. I keep them in my wallet so that I have them anywhere and everywhere, because you never know when you're going to get asked to play a guitar. All right, so a pick is one thing. Another thing is, you probably want to be able to tune your guitar. Guitars, there are actually machines that auto-tune, which is, kind of cool. But as you can imagine, those can be kind of expensive. So most of us have to tune either by ear or electronically. Some guitars have tuning machines on them, and that's really cool. But there is a way to tune your guitar. If you can find this E, then you can just use this 5th fret for all except the, let's see, what it would be, the B string, tuning the B string. You're actually playing the 4th fret on G to get what the next string will be. And it's too much to go into that right now, but you can tune your guitar by just matching pitch with the lower string. So matching pitch is cool, and that's the way I learned to tune my guitar, because we didn't have electronics back then to be able to tune our guitars. Today you could get one of these little things This actually goes on the headstock, and then you turn it on, and when you play the string, it tells you if it's in the right place, or it tells you whether to go tune up or tune down. Very nice. They don't take away too much from the look of the guitar, but and it's nice to have them because you can tune pretty quickly in the middle of a set. Where if you're playing hard, your strings are going to go out of tune, and so you can adjust it fairly quickly, especially if you are doing tunings that aren't standard on your guitar. Another thing is there are a multitude of apps for your phone to be able to tune your guitar to. You can just look at the App Store and find a guitar tuning app, and that I use that too a lot of times if I don't have one of these headstock tuners. A final way to tune, and this is kind of a fun way, is you can use a tuning fork. So this happens to be a C fork, so you can, so hopefully that sounds close to that. So this is another way, it may be a purist way of tuning your guitar, but then you're going to have to match pitch, unless you want to carry 6 of these around, or 5 actually, because there are 2 E strings. But it's kind of a cool thing, you know, to be able to tune your guitar that way. All right. Most of us, if you're just playing for yourself, you're going to be sitting when you play the guitar. And that's fine. It's great for just your own playing for yourself. If you're playing for people, though, you might be standing up. And so if you're standing up, holding the guitar and trying to play while you're standing is hard. I've done that, but it's not easy. So you'll probably want to get a strap. So now, what have we talked about so far? We talked about cases, strings, stand, picks, tuners, straps. Strap isn't necessary unless you're going to be standing and holding the guitar. There are nylon straps like this one. It fits, you know, on the back of the guitar. There's a little strap peg here, and then this guild has another peg here on the neck, so you could hook that strap there. I like to have my straps attached here on the neck, and so this has a cool little thing that allows me to do that. This is a leather strap, and also hooks to the back here, and I can hook it here, well, to this peg here, or I could hook it onto one of the tuning pegs, one of the tuning machines, or I could get a clip that would clip around here. So, but leather ones, obviously they both last a long time. It's kind of a personal thing. Some people like straps that are unique and show some personality. Some just like it to not draw attention to itself, so you can decide what you want to do. But if you're going to stand up, straps are kind of important. All right, so we talked about tuning, we talked about strings, we talked about a strap. The next thing you're going to need is you're going to probably want a capo. Now, there I have 3 different types here. They each have advantages. This is probably the one you see the most often. Looks kind of like this, and it's just a spring-loaded kind of thing. You just set it on your guitar, and it tunes your guitar up, basically. The reason capos are used, they're all kinds of reasons that people use them. Some people only capo certain strings and allows them to play more unique sounds. But most of us use it just to be able to play in a certain key fingering. So let's say you like the key of G, because G uses all 6 strings, the tonic, the G chord, and then C uses 5 strings, the C2, or if you're just in regular C, uses 5 strings, so it's nice big sound. And then the 5 is D, which uses 4 strings, but it's just a very common, fairly easy to learn set of chords. So G, C, D, and probably E minor you will want to learn, because that's the 6 in G. And so if you learn those 4 chords, you can play a whole lot of songs. But let's say if you play the song in G, it's too low on your voice. Well, you can capo up here. Let's say you capo 3. Okay, so then you're playing, it just raises everything. I'm still playing the G shapes, but now I can sing at a higher pitch that might be better for my voice. But I don't have to learn any new chords. Now this happens to be G, A, B flat. When you capo on 3 and play G, you're actually playing B flat. So it's, playing in B flat, it's kind of hard to play in B flat for a guitarist. Now, good guitarists can do it. I just am not one of those. So I like to cheat and just use my capo. Now I can play in B flat. Maybe that's the best key for the piano player. And so you can adjust. Piano players, if they want to play in B flat, they have to play in B flat. But you can adjust to them, so that's kind of a fun thing. So this is a very quick move from one to another. Then there's a lot of people like a shub like this, which basically just it's not spring loaded, and so you just snap it kind of into place, but basically works the same way. And then the last one I wanted to show you is this little thing. This goes on your guitar like this. Let's put it this way. So you strap it on your guitar. So here we are back in B flat, but playing the G shape. But let's say that we're in the middle of a set, and now I want to be in C. All right, so I need to move up 2 spots. So now I can play in C. And all I did was just move my thumb on this capo. So I can move this up and down in just seconds. Within a song you could change. So this is just kind of a cool little capo. You can actually store it here. I don't personally like to do that, but you can. So if you're not using it at all, you can even store it on the other side of the nut and then roll it onto your fingerboard and roll it wherever you need it to be. So this is kind of a cool capo, especially if you're doing a lot of changing from one key to another. So capos. That's about it. There are so many other accessories you can get. Like you might want to get a good cleaner for your, a wood cleaner that you can clean your guitar with. Most people use lemon oil on their fingerboards. So when you're switching your strings, you can apply lemon oil and treat your fingerboard because it's going to end up being better. There are ways to polish your actual frets. There are all kinds of different things you can do and ways you can spend money on your guitar. But I think these accessories are pretty standard, and you won't fully need more than that. So you've got a case, again, to protect, a stand to hold your guitar, protect it when you're not using it. a pick, a way to tune your guitar, strings. We've talked about straps if you're standing, and then capos for being able to play in different keys but using the same fingering that is comfortable to you or gives you the right sound, or maybe it's the only chords you know, but you want to play in a key that's easier to sing. All right, so next time I think we're going to launch into a series on songwriting, so that'll be the next thing. But I hope you have a great time learning and playing and accompanying others with your guitar. So we'll talk to you next time.